willkommen zur Filmpremiere von Nathalie Grenzhaeusers Film The White Sea Cycle, der heute hier Premiere feiern wird. Das ist ein besonderer Anlass, es ist Teil des Rahmenprogramms der Ausstellung, der gleichnamigen Ausstellung The White Sea Cycle, die Sie vielleicht auch schon draußen in den Foyers und im Untergeschoss sehen konnten. In dieser Ausstellung entführt uns Nathalie Grenzhaeuser in den Meeresraum am Weißen Meer und Anlass oder Ausgangspunkt war im Grunde eine ganz besondere Begegnung, nämlich mit Dr. Alexey Sukhotin, der heute auch hier ist. Herzlich willkommen. Er ist Meeresbiologe und die beiden haben sich 2015 im Rahmen einer Forschung durch das Hans-Wegener-Institut in Delmenhorst kennengelernt und daraufhin ist eine Freundschaft entstanden und Nathalie Grenzhaeuser wurde mehrfach auf die Forschungsstation White Sea Biological Station am Weißen Meer eingeladen, an der Alexey Sukhotin mit seinen Kolleginnen und Kollegen forscht. Und daraus ist eben, das war im Grunde auch der Ausgangspunkt für diese Ausstellung The White Sea Cycle, die aus 4 Kapiteln besteht: In the Tidal Zone, Creatures, Kosmos und Science in Cycle. Und der Film The White Sea Cycle ist Teil dieses letzten Kapitels, Science in Cycle. Und ich freue mich wirklich sehr, dass wir jetzt heute die Chance haben, ihn zum ersten Mal eben sehen zu können. Und es ist natürlich auch ganz besonders, dass Dr. Alexey Sukhotin auch hier ist. Und später, nach dem Film, wird er nämlich mit Nathalie Grenzhaeuser und Dr. Jule Reuter ins Gespräch kommen. Auch Jule Reuter, herzlich willkommen hier im Hospitalhof. Sie ist Kuratorin an der Hochschulgalerie der Kunsthochschule Halle, hat an der FU in Berlin Slawistik und Kunstgeschichte studiert, immer schon einen Osteuropa-Schwerpunkt gehabt und promovierte sich zum Thema Gegenkunst im Während 2000. Sie arbeitet danach zunächst als freie Kuratorin, hat unter anderem Ausstellungen wie Cindy Sherman für den Gropiusbau verantwortet und auch eine große Wanderausstellung für die Goethe-Institute im osteuropäischen Raum zum Thema 1989 bis 2009 bewegte Welt, erzählt Zeit, zeitgenössische Kunst aus Russland, der Ukraine, Belarus, Georgien und weiteren osteuropäischen Ländern. Also ich freue mich sehr, dass Sie heute hier sind. Sie begleitet die Arbeit von Nathalie Grenzhaeuser schon seit vielen Jahren und eben auch diese besondere Kooperation mit Dr. Alexey Sukhotin, und dann können wir uns später auf ein Gespräch freuen, dass eben nochmal diese besondere Zusammenarbeit zwischen Kunst und Naturwissenschaft aufgreift. Das Gespräch wird später dann in englischer Sprache stattfinden. Genau. Also ich wünsche Ihnen jetzt ganz, ganz viel Freude bei dieser Premiere und einen schönen Abend hier im Hospitalhof.
Thank you for the invitation of Hospitalhof and for the kind introduction by Alexey Sukhotin. Now it's my part to introduce Nathalie Grenzhaeuser and Dr. Alexey Sukhotin to you. After that, we will have a talk together. I prepared some questions, and I think after this we open the discussion to everybody. Nathalie Grenzhaeuser, she works and lives in Berlin, and today I've heard she was born in Stuttgart, and here are some guests from the kindergarten and the school, so it's great. Nathalie studied art at Städelschule in Frankfurt in the class of Hermann Litsch until 1997. Traveling to remote places was an early part of her artistic practice. One of her main areas of interest is the landscape. In 2005, she visited Spitsbergen in Norway in the subpolar circle for the first time. She stayed on Spitsbergen once again as part of an artist residency in 2006 and 2009. One result of these days was a work complex, the Arctic series. It was created between 2005 and 2016. This work relates climatic conditions and human use of the Arctic to each other. Her work in the subpolar circle was followed by artist residencies in Havana in Cuba in 2013, 2014 and 2016. In 2018, Nathalie was invited by Dr. Alexey Sukhotin to the White Sea Biological Station in Karelia in Russia. Further workspace followed there in 2019 and 21. A major exhibition was planned for 2002 at the Zoological Museum in Sankt Petersburg to showcase the recently created works. It was cancelled due to the war. Some of the recent works were shown in smaller exhibitions in Germany. For example, last year at Maximiliansforum in Munich, the exhibition was together with Stefanie Zoche, and this year there was a show in Berlin at Galerie Axel Obiger, also with Stefanie Zoche together, and the title of this exhibition was Creatures in Critical Zones. Let's go to you, Alexey. Alexey Sukhotin lives in Sankt Petersburg. He studied biology at the Leningrad State University, and he wrote his doctoral thesis on the Zoological Institute of Russian Academy of Science. From 2008 to 2023, he was director of the White Sea Biological Station, which is part of the Zoological Institute of Russian Academy of Science. He has been a leading scientist since July 2023 at the Zoological Institute. His research interests are ecophysiology of aquatic animals, structure and production in animal populations. The main fields of his research interests cover ecological energetics, physiology, biochemistry and genetics of marine invertebrates and their populations in geographical and habitat scales. The overarching theme of his research is understanding of the mechanism limiting species distribution, determining maximal lifespan and allowing animal populations to withstand environmental stress. Alexey is also publishing, and he published over 100 peer-reviewed articles and book chapters, and he's also teaching, as I know. Okay, let's start. Marie-Louise Silonka already mentioned it, but I want to ask you again, where do an artist and a marine biologist meet, and how does it come about that you started a kind of collaboration?
Okay, yes, it works. How did it came? I think it came, well, the first approach was in the Hanse Wissenschaftskolleg where we met, actually where we both were fellows, and I was invited by you because of the Arctic works which I have done in my collaboration with the Alfred Wegener Institute. And then I came to the White Sea Biological Station because I always wanted to do a work about the sea, and I always wanted to go to Russia and to the Russian Arctic. That was the plan at that time. And so, yeah, and then on the station, I mean, I depended on Alex, and he introduced me to the other scientists, and he translated, and so yes, I mean, it was just we didn't plan that. Actually, it just happened. Yeah, maybe you want to say something?
Yeah, just a little addition. I have invited Nathalie because I saw her work, a big work, which was presented to the Hanse Wissenschaftskolleg by her. It was a work from Spitsbergen. Was a very nice photograph, and I liked it very much. And then I asked who is the author, and found out that Nathalie wanted to continue work in the Arctic. So that was a good reason to return back to the different site and you know, to go on with that. And Nathalie wrote a nice proposal about work about the medusas, and we evaluated that. She got the invitation, and finally this project developed into different areas, as you saw here in the film.
Nathalie, Alexey invited you to come to Carthage in Perth 6 years ago. Now we see the most extensive exhibition of works to date in the Hospitalhof about your experiences there. I would describe the White Sea cycle as an opus magnum. It contains 4 chapters, we already heard about this. Before I go into this in more detail, I would like to ask you a general question. You know what I mean? Was there a main question or interest at the beginning, besides the interest of the Arctic in general?
As I said, the interest was the sea and our approach. It was kind of, for me, it was kind of a continuation in investigating landscape from a scientific part, and I was thinking about how to deal with this, and in a different way as I have done it in the Arctic, and then well, as I always do when I get invited, I make a research, and then I saw it's about invertebrates, and a lot of these invertebrates are very old species which have existed millions of years before us, and so the time aspect came into it, and I was very much excited about that, and or interested. And also the morphology of these animals, and yes, and I have already started also in the Arctic to make a special approach to science. In the Arctic it was less the handlings and ways how to do it. It was more about the measurement systems and the devices which you need for the science.
And the infrastructure.
Yeah, and the infrastructure as well, yes.
Alex, what expectations did you have when you invited Nathalie as an artist to your research station? Was she the first artist to visit and stay with you and your colleagues?
No, Nathalie was definitely not the first artist who came to our station, but Nathalie appeared to be different because in all previous cases, well, we had an experience with the artists. They once in a while come to the station because the landscapes are beautiful, and sea animals are also very interesting, and they make works, but mostly documentary. And also we had movies before, the films about the station, and all of them were absolutely documentary, which is different. What is different with Nathalie is that this is an art piece which only partly or maybe not completely documentary, and it should be seen as an aesthetic project, and the photographs which she produced are also aesthetic but not biological. That's what I would say.
Nathalie, you told that you were interested in the sea, and I think for both of you, the sea is the main protagonist, but with different perspectives. It seems to me that for the researcher, it is the habitat of the creatures he's studying and the space he has to work with. For the artist, it seems to me the sea is a multi-layered space whose complexity you want to find expression for. And maybe, or perhaps, it's for both of you also the great unknown. Alex, what is special about the White Sea from a marine biology perspective, for example, in comparison with other seas? Can you tell us some aspects of
yes,
this?
I can tell that. The White Sea, definitely the White Sea is special. it differs from most other seas because it combines the features of an Arctic and of a temperate sea. So it is so strange. It has very specific hydrological structure. It has two layers. The White Sea is a big basin which has two layers of water which almost do not mix. The upper layer, which is like 70 meters or something, it is a kind of warm water, although it freezes in winter. And the bottom layer, which is 300 meters, it is an Arctic waters. These waters never have temperatures above zero. It's always negative temperatures, and the seasonal variations is very, very, very small, tiny variation, just 1 degree. And these waters are inhabited by Arctic animals. So this is a very specific feature we can study. We are marine biologists. We are lucky because we can, from the same place, we can study the subarctic or temperate animals and life, and at the same time the Arctic ones. So we can reach both faunas and floras from our station. Yeah, that's the interesting one, or the interesting features of the White Sea.
Thank you. And the same question to you, Nathalie. What is special about the White Sea from an artistic point of view, also in comparison with other places you have seen and worked with?
Oh, it's not so easy question. I think it's not so easy because I cannot describe in just 1 or 2 sentences. Well, what is so special about this is what I try to express in the movie. It's the atmosphere of the landscape, and well, also the atmosphere at the station, I would say, for me. I mean, it's not only the landscape, of course, it's what you encounter when you are somewhere. And what I very much liked is that you have the feeling of, it's a little bit, you may laugh about that, it's like a kind of, to go into Klausur. It's not like in church, but it's kind of, it has a very, it is very focused. There is no distraction. It is very focused, very relaxed, very beautiful. It has its own poesy, and yeah, and it's a bit also like a place where there's enough time. Although, I mean, also the people who work there, they have a really high high amount of work to do, but it's a very special atmosphere, I think, very intense. And that's I like about the place.
I would like to know a little bit more about your methods of working, and also maybe your thinking about the unknown. It also concerns the question of whether we can only see what we know. You as an artist, Nathalie, you are not a specialist in marine biology. What do you do if you don't know or understand something? And how important is specialized knowledge for your work?
Let me think a minute. Not a minute, but some seconds. Well, what is, I don't have to know, I'm not making a work directly about the science. It is a work about how science look like, or how the atmosphere, the handlings, what comes together with the movement in the landscape. It has many layers. So I'm coming more from an artistic view, or I'm an artist who is interested in the power of the image, and not I don't know.
But it's a film. Some of the scientists are explaining something to you, and are you inspired to read something about this and to learn something about this more than you knew before?
Well, definitely. I want to know what's going on and what it is about and all kinds of details, but I do not necessarily have to know everything about before I start to work. Of course it's of interest, but it's not that I have to know every detail and then I can start with the work.
No. You don't want to become a scientist too.
Well, no, I think I have my topics and it's enough work. But I had in school and in science when I made my Abitur, so it's not coming from nowhere. No.
It's interesting for me to know how a scientist deals with the unknown. That means I would like to use an example, for example, the climate change. Were there signs before awareness of it arose, or do you as a scientist know about climate change and adapt your research questions accordingly? That means if you are searching about species and they are adapting to climate change, you have this question before and find the results, or you find results and then you ask where they come from, or is it both?
Yeah, definitely.
Probably both.
Definitely both, but the mainstream of scientific research is you have the knowledge of something, you have a background knowledge of anything, and then you ask a question further, and then you make a hypothesis and test the hypothesis, and if it's proven, then you go a step further. If it's refuted, then it's okay. You also go one step further, you make a new hypothesis. So this is a normal way of scientific research, but definitely there are some occasional findings which turn the picture and give you a new direction of research, and this is quite often. So this is both, the combination of both approaches, and also there is a third one, when you go to completely unknown place or space or time or habitat, you just study, you just collect everything and see what's going on, and then you, having this knowledge as a background, you make this hypothesis and testing and everything. So many approaches, including the main one.
Thank you. Nathalie, you have observed and accompanied scientists on the White Sea in their daily research activities. In the exhibition, I mean the whole exhibition, not only the film, we see pictures of their research subjects. Sea angels, jellyfishes, spong. You show them alive in their living environment on the one hand, and in a laboratory-like setting on the other. Then they are dead. What is important to you when you portray these creatures? Are you also interested in reflecting on our human approach to them?
well, what is the main thing when where I start is what are the principal associations I get when I have tons of images. I make a lot of photographs, and then I choose from maybe 20 or 51, and this should be the one who has the most precise it's a special expression. It's like a portrait of something, what I'm doing. Yes, and I try to get that in the most intensive way out. So it's all about how to present, on which material, and why this and why not that, and the size, and of course also our approach matters. But as you said, the exhibition has 4 chapters, and the chapter we are talking about is more or less the creatures chapter. And there are other chapters like the cosmos chapter, where it is not so much about the animals, it's more about the sea, really the sea, the body of the sea, the texture, the title is also the texture of the sea. And so every chapter has his own topic, and we developed also texts about that. So it is, it depends. Oops. It depends which work also.
Yeah. I mean, because a lot of portraits are shown here at Hospital from this chapter, creatures. Yeah.
Yes.
And Alex, what it is like for you to see your research subjects as protagonists in art? Does it also give to you new impulses?
That's a difficult question. Actually, it's the first experience that I and my colleagues also can see how we work projected through the vision of an artist. It's like an artwork, and sometimes it looks nice and aesthetic and very interesting. Sometimes maybe not. And maybe as a scientist, I should try to look from the side on my work more, which I do rare. So the artistic view and approach can bring more, I think, the more dimensions to what we are doing.
I have now a question to both of you, because I would like to touch briefly on the issue of ethics. Nathalie asked one of your colleagues in the film whether the marine animals being examined feel anything. Was that a point of discussion between you? This question, is the animal feeling something? Is it allowed to do this for you and for you? I mean, we have this ethic discussion about the rights of animals and so on.
Shall I start? Okay. It was not a big topic, but it was maybe once I asked about when you are making your own research with mussels. But it was especially here in this scene from the movie where it was about the sleeping behavior of sea angel, and there you could see that the brain function was brain function was analyzed, and there it was for me like a question, and that's why we put it. Also, we decided to leave this little dialogue in the movie because I thought it matters there, especially. So, but it's not a huge topic. I mean, it's clear you cannot, you cannot make science without. If you investigate the animals, I mean, but maybe you want to say something.
Okay, this is definitely an issue. The ethical problem is important in science, and there are national and international commissions that really watch that, and there are rules, written rules, how to work with animals, and what other procedures are allowed, what not, and in order to publish your research, you have to really follow those rules and prove that that was the case. But this mostly is developed for mammals like mice and rats and rabbits and apes and monkeys and whatever, many other animals. There's a lot of research, but not anything with fish and invertebrates. And we work with marine invertebrates, and we basically think that they do not feel pain or something like that. They definitely have a nervous system. Some of them have a pretty highly organized nervous system, but at the moment there is no restrictions and rules and research showing that they feel this pain. So unless there is proved otherwise, we keep our work like it is, but we will definitely change if it's proven.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, like Dr. Panchin said, we also eat fish and oyster. I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah, but it's really the only dialogue we can understand. I think it was a message from you to us. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This was a question in this scene. Yeah.
I would now like to go into more detail about the video that was premiering today. And Nathalie, you demonstrate a wide range of activities of the scientists, from simple handouts to complex calculations in files. But you don't explain to us what exactly is being done and why. Why did you decide to do this in this way?
Yeah, as I said, because I wanted to make a portrait about these, the ways how field research is done. And then the title is The White Sea Cycle, which means that for me I was focusing on the working routines. That means which are being monitored since over 60 years, and there were two main scientific field research which are happening in summer or every 3 months. You may say something about that more precisely. And so it was like to make a combination of how it looks like, the body of this work, the atmosphere, the animals, the life cycle in the whole project mattered a lot. That's why I also include dead animals in the exhibition as well as in the movie. So it is a constant like circle from life to death, again to life, again. So it's going on and on and on, and that was the idea of the whole project.
Nevertheless, it evokes a lot of questions for me, and so I want to use the situation and ask Alex about this. Are there any activities that are seasonal, and which are they? Because seasons we see play a very important role in the film.
Definitely, seasons are extremely important in the life and in the White Sea, because you saw the seasons are very, very, very well pronounced. I mean, we have a really thick ice during 5 months of the year. It's like 50, 60, 70 centimeters thick, real frozen sea and complete darkness in the sea. And in summer we have pretty warm water, it's like plus 15 on the surface. So there is a strong seasonality, and the seasons definitely play a role in all life of all the species which we study. So they have a season for reproduction, they have a season for dormancy, I mean for hibernation, how you call it. And they have season for distribution, migration, anything. So we study the life of animals in a seasonal way, how they really change with seasons, and many of our work is seasonal. So one of the monitorings which we really are proud of is the monitoring of the plankton, research plankton, like tiny animals which live in the water body, you know, small crustaceans and other animals which you saw in the movie, by the way. So the monitoring is means sampling every 10 days. Every 10 days in winter and in summer, and it was shown in the movie. And in autumn, spring, whatever, scientists go into the sea and collect samples and analyze the samples. And it goes since 1957. I mean, it's over 60 or 65 years, even more. So this is the fourth the longest monitoring in the world. I mean, we really have a good data set. And this means that every season is important. So we study our animals in every season of the year, and then we know how they really live.
Thank you. I want to come back to the maybe possible intersections between art and science. I read that, Alex, you also filmed for Nathalie. But as a scientist, you also work with emerging media. How do you see the intersections and possible coexistence of images made by scientists and those created by artists? Would it be interesting to show both together to a wider audience?
Depending on the audience, probably. So definitely, it can be really very interesting. I never thought about that. Thank you, Jule. I think it's a great idea, by the way. And yeah, the scientific photograph is something very different from the artistic. We are focused on specific details which we want to study. Some photographs are micro photographs. They are made with optical techniques, microscopes, and of different magnification. And some are not. You saw, for example, the photographing process in science in one of the episodes when scientists photographed the sponges. They did that because they later analyzed these photographs in a row in a computer program. They need to know how these sponges really change the dimensions, and they put them in figures and analyze them. So the scientific photograph is kind of not poetic at all, and is totally focused on some special feature which we want to know. The artistic photograph is definitely different. They have a character in these photographs. The objects have, their appearance. They resemble something. Maybe give associations, and that's interesting to compare.
I want to add something. I had a situation on the White Sea where I was. We had exactly this situation with the one who was the diver. He was diving there, and then we were together in the lab, and we made photos of the animals which he got from the sea. And it was very interesting. He was very, very quick and very focused, and it was really like done quickly, and I felt like it was very funny how he worked and how I worked, and also the results. But it was just an experience we had in the lab together, and not shown to somebody, but it was very interesting. Yeah.
Next question about film. You already mentioned it, that it is not a classical portrait of the researchers, but rather a portrait of the processes involved in research. However, I can also derive characteristics of the habitus from this. He, she, scientist, must be patient, have good eyes, work precisely, have robust health, and should be a team player. What was their intention, and which features did you want to show us from the collaborative work, scientist work, daily work, daily being?
Yes, it was definitely a daily being, and it also the atmosphere between the people also, and during the working process, and small details which are normally never mentioned and are of interest, but also there are repetitions. It is work. I mean, it's has his own like things which always mention is things like size, temperature, counting of things, washing of things, and there are many processes where you have the same. Always the water matters, not only in the process but also in the animals itself. And I found it also very interesting that a lot of these invertebrates are transparent or translucent and contain a lot of water themselves. And so, yeah, well, water plays a huge role also, and yeah, and yeah, certain movements which are dedicated to the processes, what has to get out of the water, what has to be filled in some jars, or what, I mean, these things matter. Right.
May I add something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I would like to make a little addition about the features and characters of the people which are there at the station. The thing is that the station is remote, is indeed pretty far from civilization. We do not have a road to any other village, or I don't know. We go by boats, and the nearest little village is 30 kilometers. So we are kind of in the middle of the nature, and it's a kind of small place where people live together. I mean, they do not only work. Like here in the institute or in the university, you come in the morning, you work, you go back home. In the station, you work together and live together. So, I mean, you go visit the same canteen and use the same facilities, whatever, and you meet every day for many, many hours beyond the working hours. So there is a selection of features which allow people to really live for long months in a small place in the nature together, and you know, not only work together, but you know, react to bad weather, disasters which happen, and you celebrate something together. It definitely makes a special feature to a special how do you call it, mask to all this team.
Thank you for this addition. One question again about the portrait of the scientist. I'm an art historian, and so I also see this film in the tradition of August Sander, who made portraits of people from most diverse social classes and professional groups in this big work, people of the 20th century. Is there maybe an inspiration for, is he an inspiration for you when you think about portrait?
Well, it's definitely, I have seen many exhibitions where I know his work, and I could also mention a lot of other artists, not only in photography, also in film and in painting, which matter a lot. And I think every artist has his or her life where all these influences come together, and they are all working inside. I mean, everything what had a huge power, it will go into the work also. That's what I think. For me, people like Diane Arbus play a huge role, for example. Or here, specifically, it was very interesting because before coming to the White Sea in 2018, I have seen an exhibition from a French filmmaker with the strange name Siegfried. And I have never again seen something, but I have seen he made a film about the East, about Russia, and about the Far East. And it blew me away. I mean, it was really very strong and powerful. And so this definitely, through this movie, East from Siegfried, Kino Gama, it's a production company, I think, I was very much influenced, and he had focused, there comes the idea to focus on the hands and to make this really close-ups, to create an intensity and an intimacy, maybe also, that you're really close, you're really looking over the shoulder, or you are with the people in the field. And yeah, so it becomes really like you can feel the cold, or you can feel or see the dirt, or, I mean, it's very, how you say, body, or körperlich, what is in English?
Physical.
Physical, yes, of course. Physical, yeah.
Yeah, when I saw the film today, I had a new question, not prepared for today. How dangerous is it there? Because, yeah, it inspired me to think about this. it looks so calm and contemplative, but you mentioned the weather and the cold and the darkness. And
okay. Well, definitely when you are in the water, this you have the movement, the currents, and that's why well, that's definitely something which is can be dangerous. And I was always watched, and in the beginning I did not think much about it. I was more concerned about the coldness, but I was very much prepared for that. And also because normally I'm a person who is afraid in deep water. And I was alone in the water, and it was good, and with a camera you forget these things, but it's important to be watched, so I could not go whenever I liked there. I had always to wait for somebody to go with me and to can watch me, and yeah. So that was for me probably the, or just to go, for example, in winter times, straight into the landscape. I mean, I had a special experience. It was not in the landscape, it was just on the station, and I just went off the scooter, because in winter you go with scooters, with snow scooters, and I got on the fall side, because you have seen there are wooden paths on the station, and they are important. Also, and I went on the wrong side, and then I ended up in the snow like until here, and they had to take me out. So, and it can be difficult, and of course, I mean, that's clear.
Yes, and definitely Nathalie, when came to the station, she signed a form, a special form that she takes all the risk on herself. So, yeah, everybody does that when it comes to us. But yes, there are dangers, of course. It's a sea, and there are storms in the sea, and there are currents in the sea, and there are rocks, which are also can be slippery and anything. Well, we have bears and wolves just at the station. We see them once in a while, and poisonous snakes too. So dangers are everywhere, but you get used to live in this and can manage.
I want to add, I mean, I was a bit prepared because I have been working in the Arctic, and that was really a major topic there because of the polar bears, and that was a big thing, security. So compared to that, I felt quite safe at the White Sea, and I always thought that you make jokes with the bears, but on my last stay there was this nice dog, which is also in the film, and he had really like the whole thing of he had a fight with a bear. He was wounded, and you could really see yeah, well, the tatze on his body, and it was huge. And I was
so
really
you
like,
realized where you are.
Okay, it was not a joke.
Okay, so I will finish here with my questions to you, and want to give you the opportunity to ask, and maybe I come with the microphone. Oh.
Yes.
short question.
Okay.
How big is this yellow jellyfish?
Well, the jellyfish, they are from different size. The bodies.
This orange one, the large.
It was quite big, maybe like this.
Like this. 50
No, like this. Like this. Well, there were also huge ones in the water, so yeah, the biggest one I have seen there, and was
30 centimeters, not more.
there was, yeah,
Like this.
yeah.
But the tentacles are long.
Yeah, the tentacles are very long. Yeah. No questions?
Yeah, there's another question.
Yes, please.
I very much like that there was no explaining of what the scientists are doing, because to me it felt like they were following a game with secret rules that I don't know. And that part I really liked, and I thought maybe that's a connection between the process of a scientist and the process of an artist, because I think play is a crucial part of the process of an artist, and I was wondering if play is also part of the process of the scientist, because I think play opens up new connections that you wouldn't have thought before. And even if the play making science is very serious, and you have to be very precise in all these things, but maybe there is space for play also. That's what I was thinking about.
We play games, of course. Yes, and there were many games we played when we were students, and then many games we are playing now. It is definitely part of work, and not work, sorry, part of the life, and that's how you sometimes spend your time with friends. And maybe you're right. I never thought about the use of games in the scientific research. Maybe really develops the brain and gives a creative thinking. Thank you.
More questions?
Yes, I think, Jule, you also mentioned or asked a question already in the little booklet that we made. You can take it, it's outside about the exhibition. If there's going to be another kind of chapter of the White Sea cycle, there's got to be some more cooperation, or we return to the White Sea biological station, at least to show the movie to the other scientists. That's the question.
Yes, well, definitely. I will, or you will, show the movie to all the people who are involved, and I have plans to continue also. Also with the I have still a lot of material. This will probably be more in photography, because I have done a lot of film work, which you can see also in the exhibition here. And as far as I see it now there will be more like photographic work. And I have already started really very small approaches on another scientific project. It's more an ecological land farming, in ecological farming, and this is a project in Mexico, and yeah, and I plan something similar. I plan to make a movie also about this, about Xochimilco. It's the name of this place. Where there is this ecological farming, and this matters really a lot for the city, because it's in this floating garden area, and it's a huge topic also from the water, concerning the water, and many ecological problems matter there. So, but this is of course another another step to another topic. But I also can imagine, as I have done, for example, in the past, I have done a project about the Arctic, and I have done projects in the desert zones of Australia, and I made a publication of both of these projects, and I could very good imagine to make maybe also a publication of those. Sorry, excuse me. Of those two projects, maybe, or just about the White Sea, we will see. I don't know yet, but definitely there will be continuation. Yes.
If there are no more questions, I want to congratulate Nathalie for the film I've seen for the first time in a big screen, and for the exhibition.
Yeah, thank you for coming.